everyone, if we are. I think I need to check. No, it's not. Oh, it is. Yes, we are. Okay, good. So, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to another amazing event. Recording this would be good. Welcome to another. There we go. Welcome to another amazing event with Empowered Talks. Today we have mindset mastery for you. And the beauty of doing these absolutely amazing virtual events, they're actually epic. They're way past amazing. So the beauty of doing them is they're virtual. And when you do something virtual, there's a number of different things that could go wrong. So you could lose the bio sheet, you could have technical issues, you could come in late, you could lose speakers. So my first speaker is actually a little bit ill today and she won't be able to join us. So we have the pleasure of having Patrick Tuttle here with us, who was supposed to speak at 1, and he was wonderful enough to switch it around for me. So mindset mastery, so hugely important. Mostly entrepreneurs watch this and, just other people. But you know what? Mindset mastery is hugely important in everything. Isn't that right? Doesn't everybody agree with me? I mean, isn't mindset the number one? I don't want to call it an issue because it's not always an issue, but it's the number one thing that gets you through life. So if you're always negative, what do you think is going to happen with that? But if you're always positive, what do you think is going to happen with that? How are you going to see things? You can see them like this, or you can see them like that. You can either see them in the light or not in the light, in the dark. And the way you see it is the way you live your life, right? So with that, I'm going to allow Patrick to tell you a little bit about himself and what he does, and then we'll have a little chat with him. Patrick?
All right, everybody can hear me okay?
That's right.
All right, so one of the things we have to love about the environment that we live in is that you can never trust anything, including schedules and people. And so I think that kind of leads right into being prepared. In other words, this is 100% off the cuff because I'm not supposed to speak for another 4 hours, so I got nothing prepared. Okay.
Perfect. Just the way we like it.
All right. But the basis is that every time that we, wake up in the morning, we have a decision that we have to make. Are we going to have a good day, a bad day, a terrible day? What happened yesterday? Is it affecting how we wake up? Are we grumpy? Are we yelling at the kids? Or do we just take a moment to reflect on what the blessings are that we have in the moment that we have and the day that's going to happen to us, which is unknown, but is actually very exciting if we think about it in the right way. So my business is in the search engine AI space. And so I'm going to kind of go down that road a little bit, but just a real little side note is that one of the things that blesses my life and the mindset that we have, is it all about us or is it all about others? Or is there a good balance between us and others, right? If we're coaches, are we coaching to help people or are we coaching to grow our business, right? Or if we coach people really, really well, then we're going to automatically grow our business, right? Because the cause and effect of what we're doing for other people is going to bless us. So in 2005, not knowing exactly what I'm going to do, which kind of goes into mindset. So Marianne, do you always have to be prepared for what you're going to do?
Oh my gosh, I'm literally almost never prepared, and yet at the same time, always prepared for anything. So this is not my first summit. I've been doing them now. It's coming up to 5 years. And this year I've done a summit, a virtual summit every month And one of the months I even did a 2-day one, and I always do one. Do you know how many times people have shifted, changed, come late, come, not come? People have told me like 8 minutes. I always say 10 minutes, but really it was 8 minutes before she was supposed to go on and she couldn't make it. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. We'll figure it out. Best case scenario, no, because now I have to scramble a little bit, but can I handle it? Absolutely. Right. And it's not just that, it's like so many other things. Like, what about we all have appointments throughout the day. What if your client's late? What are you going to do? Yell at them? They're going to do business with you if you do.
Or somebody calls you up 4 hours early and says, you're on.
Or calls you and say, hi honey, how you doing? Good morning. I'm really looking forward to having you on my summit today. Can you come like in a half an hour? You mean in 24 minutes? And I'm like, okay, 24 minutes.
So
get sticky about it.
Right. So it all goes into mindset. So basically what I was trying to say is that we don't always need to be prepared. Technically, we just have to mentally prepared for the very next step that we take. As example, I was out the other day, I'm going down my driveway and I twisted my foot and fell on the ground, and everybody in my neighborhood, oh, can I help you? That's okay. Accidents happen, things happen. We just always have to be prepared for them, right? And so in light of that, in 2005, just as a side note, Marianne, you know this, myself as a mortgage guy and my buddy as a software engineer, we decided to start an orphanage in Africa. Oh boy, we were really prepared for that one, weren't we? Okay, but somebody had come to us and said, hey, I've got some land, we've got some kids, we got a need, you're in the United States, you guys are, have the mindset of helping because we've helped out before and other things. And so, we decided to take a 2-year trek on how to figure out how to set up an orphanage, how do we get with the government and everything else. And so 2005, we set up an orphanage called All Kids Can Learn International in Zambia. And today we run $1 million budget. We've got 700 kids in our school. We've got 240 acres of crops that we built, and all because we have the mindset of success, the mindset of, excitement and trying new things. If we're always stuck in a FEAR mode, we really never get anything done. So I'd like to just start this off with a quote, and I don't know if anybody will actually ever know who said this, but it's basically the one, that I look at, excuse me, I live by every day. And that is, I would like to ask everybody, how many times in life, when you're trying to do something, have you failed? Think about that for a second. How many times in life have you tried to do something to get to an end result and you've absolutely failed in that moment to achieve what it is that you wanted?
Too many times I can't even count.
Okay. Well, I've got some really, really good news for you,
Yeah.
Marianne. The reality of it is you have never failed.
See?
You have never failed in anything that you've tried to accomplish, right?
That's true.
And the reason that I say that, and we'll kind of go back to somebody who I think we all know, and does everybody in here know a gentleman by the name of Thomas Edison?
Uh-huh.
What did he do? He
did
created the light bulb, quote unquote, so to speak. History may have some different modifications of that. But does anybody know how many times he actually tried to accomplish that goal before he succeeded?
20,000. 20,000?
1,000.
1,000. Yay.
Okay. Plus
Good
or minus. Right. And so when he was asked, how is it that you could continue to go through the process, 1,000 times before he succeeded? And he stopped the interviewer and he said, I succeeded every single time of those 1,000 times. I've never failed in my entire life. And the interviewer said, well, how is that possible? You've tried this thing 1,000 times, you failed 1,000 times until you finally got it. And his answer was, I succeeded every time by knowing what not to do the next time. So I'm not failing, I'm succeeding in my mind, and in reality, I'm not going to repeat what I already was not successful at, but I never failed because every failure is a success of what not to do in the future. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely 100%. And if you look at everything like that, really, you're absolutely 100% correct. We've never actually failed. Even though we failed to get to this place, like if my goal was to get here in 10 days and I didn't make it in 10 days, then technically I failed that part. But the other side, I've not failed because I've learned 10 days of stuff.
Yep.
Get to the I don't know, 15th or 16th day when I actually did do it, or the 21st, who cares which day, right? Because if you look at everything just like that, everything is in the light and not the dark, then that's exactly what's going on. You've learned, you look at what you've learned getting there, and learning is fun, right? Learning isn't just going to a seminar or a school and sitting there taking notes, or, you know, even what we're doing here. Learning is everything we do, right?
Absolutely, 100%. So let's kind of jump through a couple, just some key concepts of mindset thinking, and we can, discuss them a little bit if you like, or, but I'm just going to go through my notes of my checklist like every day, that I wake up to, and I kind of briefly go through these things.
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second.
Absolutely.
I want to go back to the charity part. Sorry, I wanted because I wanted you to complete the thought here that we were doing.
Okay.
The charity that Patrick and his partner run is, I think initially, if and you please correct me if I'm wrong, but initially you were going to support the orphanage, and now you've created an entire community out there.
Correct.
It's not just an orphanage that they take care of. And I have partnered with them because I'm actually a rep. This is not my company, but I do sell this amazing product. These are outstanding supplements that are all natural, made from the DNA of the plant. We're going to be discussing these a little bit later today at about noonish, but we've partnered. So if you are the kind of person that would like to donate to charity, if you are in the US, Patrick will be able to give you a receipt for your business or yourself or however. And we're just taking orders here. I will handle that if you connect with me. And we're then sending these to the orphanage, to the kids first, and then anyone else who needs them. So I just wanted to say that, now it's become this big, huge, gigantic, amazing charity. So please continue, sir.
Yeah, we have a very small budget. It's just topped $1 million a year. So it's, and here's the beautiful thing, Marianne, right? Because we have the mindset of being entrepreneurs, and we have a mindset of not looking for handouts. We have created an environment over there where we're 75% self-sustainable. We grow our own food. We have our own crops. We teach the kids how to fix the engines. We give them college education. Matter of fact, one of the girls from there just came over here to the United States to go to MIT in Michigan that we got her a scholarship for. So it's not,
Wow.
just like sending money. We actually have environments where we're teaching the kids life skills and so forth, which is really kind of, the way it should be. Nobody really wants a handout. They want to learn, right?
That's right. And they want to learn how to live better. And, it's education, it's everything. It's not just, oh, here's some clothes, right? Like it's everything. Here's some food and clothes. There's also these to help keep everyone healthier and to help them learn a little more about everything. And I think it's beautiful what you've created. And I think it's, it's super important, that whole, give 10% away thing. I think that's huge. So if you are interested, please DM me or Patrick, and then I will handle the actual ordering. And Patrick is going to handle the actual sending. So you do nothing. All you do is tell me how much you want to spend. We buy some of these and we send them off to Africa, which is amazing. So Beautiful. Win-win.
So what I want to do here is I'm going to pop in a link.
Mhm.
Okay. And this is a link to just some of the talking points we're going to talk about today.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to put that link into the Facebook. Actually, Nikki,
I can't do that. You can do it.
no, I'll have Nikki do it because I can't.
Got it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because if I move my screen, it'll mess everything up. So go ahead.
Okay. So this is a document that, I kind of like review myself, every day. So we're just going to go down quickly with it. And if either of you have any, things you want to talk about, these are my key concepts in mindset thinking. I'd just like to review them, myself every day. Like somebody puts a boat on the mirror because that's what they want to achieve.
That's right.
I don't care about boats. I just want to be better at what I do and helping more people.
Mhm.
So I think the first one, if I can share my screen, or I could just go over this. It's up to you.
Mhm.
So growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Okay. Somebody might say, well, what does that mean?
Mhm.
Growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed with effort, learning, and persistence. Fixed mindset is belief that abilities and intelligence are static traits that cannot be significantly changed. Okay. So if you kind of are always thinking in this positive way of, like Edison,
Mhm.
thinking about, okay, I didn't fail. What's the next thing? How do I do this? How do I grow? How do I do this? Right? Then we're going to be in that scenario. And then when you add the positive thinking, focus on positive outcomes and maintaining optimistic outlooks can improve your overall well-being and your performance,
Mhm.
right? So as we're stepping and we're walking into these positive, I'll call auras, positive thinking, all the stuff that comes at us is going to just bounce off our body like, Teflon, right?
Right. Sure.
And then we move on down to resilience and adaptability, developing the ability to bounce back from setbacks and adapt to new situations and crucial maintain our strong and healthy mindset. Now, I'll give you a quick example of that very quickly. My daughter had a very serious accident. It was 23 years ago. We're still suffering from all the repercussions of it. We all have issues in some way, shape, or form that create very, very negative impacts on our life. We can be, woe is me,
Mhm.
or we can search out solutions and walk in the mindset of it is what it is. This is the worst day it could ever possibly be. Let's make it better tomorrow. And
Mhm.
the reality of that is sometimes it is not the worst day that it could ever be. There will be days that are worse than this, but we understand and we accept that that's going to happen and we'll deal with them when they come. Does that make sense?
Yep. Very, very true.
I'm sure you've had situations, and those that are listening to us are in the midst of some of those situations right now. Like my daughter had a head-on car collision at 65 miles an hour. We've been dealing with that for the last 23 years, right? But, there are positives in all things that are negative. We just have to find them, And
Yes.
then the other one that I reflect on every day is self-awareness, understanding your own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in the first step to making a positive change. If you don't know who you are,
Mhm.
let me repeat that. If you don't know who you are, how are you going to take the next steps when positive or negative things happen to you? If you're only looking at positive, you'll never be able to handle those things that come that are not, such as I just released a book. I'm excited. I'm going to sell 1,000 copies and I sold 3.
Mhm.
Okay. Is that a positive or a negative thing?
Bring it to me and I'll sell more. And
Okay.
that's a positive thing. But I
Well,
love the way that you said that if you don't know who you are, like look at all the different things. I mean, how many times do people ask us, what would you change in your life? Nothing, because if I didn't go through every little step that I went through, I wouldn't be here. Who knows where I'd be, right?
correct.
So everything happens for a reason. 3 books for
Absolutely.
car accidents, right?
But
Like,
look at it this way. Look at it this way also, Marianne.
mhm.
You know, How do you know that one of the three people that actually bought your book is not going to change their life significantly? You may never know that,
Hmm.
right? But you know that if they bought it and they read it, something positive will happen in their life. So you can't look at numbers as the benchmark of success,
That's true.
right? It's how many people you impact. And a lot of your members are coaches and stuff like that. So your mindset has to be you start with one, make an impact with them so they can make an impact with others. It's it's almost like, refer one, refer one, refer one, refer one, refer one. Just keep referring one, and you change a million lives.
Yeah, and if three books got sold that day, that's okay. There'll be more books will get sold tomorrow, and then the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and who knows? And I mean, you got to think about why do you write books, right? To impact people, to help inspire them. So if you have managed to change one person's life from negative to positive, and you've helped to be that person who has inspired them, then isn't that already worth it?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you
No,
have
absolutely.
1,000, that's awesome. If you have 1,000,000, that's awesome. But if you have one life is hugely important, right?
I 100% agree. I mean, we wake up every day knowing that, you just take a deep breath and say, okay, throw it on me. Let's go.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I 5 years ago, I think it was 2020, when things were shaking up and
Hmm.
changing. I was like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? Something. I want to do something. Like, what do I like doing? So I love meditation. I love teaching meditation. I've been meditating since I was 15 years old. So you know what? I thought, okay, let me go out there and do a meditation. And I'm like, okay, but people don't like, long things, right? So I think
Hmm.
I'll just do something called Meditation Minute with Marianne. And I'm thinking anyone can do anything for 1 minute, even the people that want to meditate but don't feel like they don't know how. So I went online, and on Facebook, I would just post a 1 minute meditation every day. I'd come on and I'd be on there like at the very longest, a minute and a half, but mostly it was a minute. And like, I was doing this for months and months and months, and maybe 6 months had passed by, and I'm like, maybe people are, tired of it now. Like you're getting
Hmm.
comments and stuff, but it's like, who knows if I'm inspiring anyone? Like nothing, no one's really saying anything. It's great, thank you for doing this and all of that, right?
We'll just stop it for 3 days and see what happens.
Yeah, and then what I didn't stop it, and what actually happened just in that moment when I was thinking that, literally like the next day, there was this gentleman who had connected with me, and he said, I just want to tell you, I'm super grateful for what you do here with these meditations. I really hope you continue. I don't know, how long you plan on doing them, but I did want to let you know that they've really made a difference for me. Yesterday was a really hard day for me, and I was seriously contemplating
There
suicide.
you go.
I listened to your meditation, and it literally shifted me like in a minute. And I'm like, okay,
There you go.
thank you. That was my sign.
Hmm. Yeah.
That was my
Yep.
sign, and I took it and I continued doing it for the next year, basically. Like it was just, and I thought, okay, good, it's helping people. Like that was what I was looking for. And it was like, wow, that was big, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly what we're talking about in number 5 here. Practice that, right? Every day. Do something to allow you to, zen out into a space that's just your space, where you can have whatever you want to call it reflect internally into you know, that particular day, because every day, every step is a new day, is a new step and a new environment and a new learning. What happened yesterday is history, and it's stuff that we need to reflect on, but it's not going to reappear today exactly the way that was yesterday. You may have the same scenario, but the effects are going to be different the way you handle it. And what you were just talking about, visualization, you just kind of nailed it. Imagine your goals and desired outcomes can help reinforce your motivation and focus. All right.
Mhm.
Because what it does is it keeps you focused on what? The positive. It keeps you focused on what? The truth of what you're trying to say.
Mhm.
You focus on helping. You're doing the meditations because you're doing something to focus yourself on giving back to somebody else that may help them, whether
Mhm.
you know it or not. is not necessarily the reason you're doing it. You know that what you put out there, will not return void in some way, shape, or form at some point.
Mhm.
Correct?
It's true. It's very, very true. And you never know who you're touching. And it's also, I feel, and tell me how you all feel about this, but I feel that it's important that you're doing things from a deeper level, from inside of you, and that it's not, we're all entrepreneurs, we're all doing this as a living. So on earth, we need to have money to survive and to pay for bills, or otherwise we can't do this. But that's not the main reason we do it, right? We do it like I'm not putting out minute meditations for myself. I meditate for a lot longer than a minute every day. So I don't really need to do another minute one. I'm doing it for others, right? So that whole sort of let's do it to help inspire and heal and protect others as well, because let's face it, the last couple of years have been really interesting, and I'm in Canada, you're in the US, you guys just had an election, we're gonna have one at some point. And it causes a lot of chaos and a lot of chaotic behavior and a lot of emotions. And it just puts people sometimes into a spin. It brings out a lot of fear. It brings out a lot of anger. I mean, these are hard energies to have to deal with and hard emotions. So we want to try to stay in the positive, in the light as much as we possibly can, right? So anything that'll work for you. So if that's meditating, if that's praying, if that's, I don't know, reading books, if that's journaling, if it's breath work for me is huge. Breath work and meditation and going out into nature and walking with my dog by the water. I need trees, I need grass. I love the water. Like for me, that's hugely healing, right? So
Exactly. So how do we handle some of the things that we just talked about before? So I've listed, a couple of, practical tips. You've enunciated a couple of them, already in what you're doing. But being in business, and you're in business, and I'm sure most of the people that are listening are, we're all in business in some way, shape, or form. We either are in business for ourselves or we work for somebody that's in business. So therefore we have to be in business with those that we're working with, because it is their business and they're relying on us to help them, correct? So in either way, everything that we do, we are doing it for us, but we're also doing it for the person that we're working for. And that could be just us, but it's really for your client that you're working for. You're never really working for yourself. At least that's my mindset. If I work for myself, I sit in the backyard with a fishing pole. Okay. But if I'm working for somebody else, then I'm motivated to be the best that I can be. And how do I get to be the best that I can be? And I think we all realize that we have faults. So let's not get too hard on ourselves when we are not really perfect, right? There's not too many people in this world that are perfect. Some people think they are, but we know they're not, right? So in our business, which is the ranking store, excuse me, where we help people get new clients, get customers, get their messaging out there via search and everything else, is that I think right now, a lot of people are a little bit anxious about this AI stuff. And I'm going to talk to you in a little bit about that, but let's go through some practical tips, right? And Marianne, I know that you're one who embraces the challenge. See challenges as opportunities to learn and grow rather than threats to your business. I'm going to reflect that in your business and my business and everybody's business.
Sure.
Okay. We have been doing things the very same way, with trying to get online, do search, get customers, do advertising it's been pretty stagnant, for quite a long time, a little bit of nuances. And now what we have is something called AI. So we can look at it two ways. AI is either going to be your best friend, or you're going to be fearful of it because it is complicated and you're not going to do anything with it. And therefore your fear will come to pass, which is somebody's going to overtake you in what you're doing, because you cannot sit at the stoplight when the damn stoplight is green. Let me say that again. when the stoplight is green, you have to go. And right now, we're in an environment where the stoplight is amber, soon to turn green, and your whole way of doing things in your entire life online has just crashed. Does that resonate, make sense with you?
So I'm just going to say this about myself. I am not the techiest person in the world. I typically will go and learn what I need to learn for what I'm doing, and then the rest I don't really understand. It's not something that comes naturally to me. But when AI first came out, even at the very, very beginning, a few years ago,
Yep.
I was like, wow, I really don't understand this fully yet, but I'm in love with this AI. And even back then, and I have actually owned my own little AI that I purchased from someone. I want to say it's been almost 2 years, which is a long time for me to have an AI. And now, like, some of the things that it can do with books. And I'm going to have Nikki, if she's around, to tell us a little bit, because she actually has a program also. And my program, I think, has a similar thing to it. I just have never used it. I am in love with this concept. You could have an audio, create an audio book, like an Audible, and then you can also have it in numerous languages.
Correct.
You pick a language and AI will do that. And I don't think that's a terrible thing. I think that's amazing. I think it's outstanding. I saw one of Nikki's, and I know she's involved with a company that does it. But so if you want to say a couple of words about that, Nikki, that'd be awesome.
Thank you so much. And yeah, my mom was fascinated because she said, I learned to speak 5 languages in 24 hours.
I love it.
I'm on the Great Discovery platform. And one of the things they do is they have translation. And that makes whatever creators are putting out there available to people, regardless of language and regardless of location, all through the power of AI. And when we can make that knowledge accessible to so many, wow, what a world impact we can have. So and I've been warned about AI so many times, and being the disobedient client, I've still gone ahead and used it because I've had to weigh up for myself, what are the benefits? And I don't believe that we have to sacrifice who we are in AI, because we can still have the heart intelligence with the artificial intelligence. So AI is something I'm learning, I'm embracing, and being not a particularly techie person, I love it. I love that I can create a graphic from a description of myself. I love that I can reach people in different languages. Could I do that if I ignored the benefits of AI? Absolutely not. So, Patrick, thank you so much for being part of the growth of AI's understanding in the world. So powerful.
Yep. And, I always think of this statement: whatever you see today is the very worst it's ever going to be from this day forward.
Right.
Yes.
Think about that. If it's amazing today, what can you imagine we're going to be able to do in the future? And that leads me into a book that we wrote, and I'll share that with you at the end here, with how to navigate AI in your business, right? But, once again, that embraces challenge, right? And you said at the very beginning, learn from the criticism, use constructive feedback as the tools of improvement, not as a personal attack. Never feel, like when somebody says what you're doing is crazy, like when you first started doing your AI in your books, it's like, it's going to be plagiarism, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, it's not going to be who you are, you're not going to be speaking. Well, those are all criticisms of unintelligent people who are not taking the time to research the viability of what is happening on any subject, not just AI, right? So most of the time when you get criticism, it's not necessarily that they know more than you. What it really means is they don't understand. So it's not a criticism. Literally, a criticism is a question to me. If somebody criticizes me about something, it's like, okay, I've done a very piss poor job of explaining to them why they think, and I need to do better.
Mhm.
So to me, it's really a blessing. I love criticism because I learned from it. And if we're afraid of criticism, it's going to put us into that negative mindset instead of that positive mindset, right, guys?
Yeah, it's hard. I think criticism is a part of life, period. Like you have to listen to your clients, you have to listen to your colleagues. And if somebody says something, hey, you know what, you could do this, why don't you try it like this, or what do you think about this? It's also, I guess, how you present it, but some people just can't handle it. And I'm like, okay,
Yep.
I can't have a relationship with you if I can't tell you how I feel. And if you can't tell me how you feel. If you're going to pretend you're okay with what I just said and it's for whatever reason it's rubbing you the wrong way, please tell me and let's discuss it. And then I'll tell you why I said it. And it's probably a way different reason than what you thought.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
So
100%. 100%.
so you got communication. Like if you don't
And then
have
I like number 3, as well from a mindset perspective, celebrate effort
uh-huh.
and progress,
Mhm.
right? So, like Nikki, when you were saying you had to try it, you had to put the effort into it. The effort produced a result that you may at first did not like, but you put more effort into it. You learned you learn what not to do the next time to get a better result. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Right?
Absolutely. And I think that when you hear both criticism and when you see you don't like something, you're actually seeing it from a different perspective that you yourself can't get. So to hear what people are saying and to celebrate that you've made the effort is so powerful. I'm all about celebration. So I love that you emphasize that, Patrick.
And I like to celebrate it in different ways, and so do you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with somebody else. Okay. I'll give you an example. When we do something and we find an aha moment, I will walk out in my backyard on my porch and just scream. How
I,
about,
I believe it too.
okay? It's
Patrick is
like,
just
I don't have to celebrate it with anybody else. I do because we have a team, but it's like I get right now, I just got chills,
yep.
you know, because I can feel comfortable in my own skin saying, we just found something nobody else knows. Now we're going to share it. Now we're going to change lives.
Mhm.
That's the celebration part.
Mhm.
There's a secondary celebration is that when you implement that and it does work and as coaches, you're changing people's lives, there's a different celebration that comes at that point. So I think of it as a two-tier situation. My personal celebration and then the celebration of being able to impart that to change other people's lives so that they can live better in their own skin. Does that make sense?
Mhm. True.
So next time you guys come up with something, I want you to, Facebook and say, celebration, hats, balloons, kisses, whatever. Hey, this may not mean anything to you, but today for me, this was game changer. And if coaches would do that and get that feedback not just rhetoric feedback, but excitement feedback, the whole possibility of how they're dealing with the people that they're dealing with completely changes. I got groups of 2, 3, 4,000 people, right? So I get everything every day, bit in, out, in, out, in, out. And I say that from a perspective that we interact every day, all of us. We're not just getting a comment, right? And so I really get excited when I can share, like today, I got another webinar at 2:00. I'm sharing something that I learned for me that I can share to them because I want them to be excited. So you just have to know what to share and how to get people motivated to take that next step because they want to. Here's the point. You want people that you're working with to be excited with you,
You. Yes.
right?
And I want people to work with me, not for me.
Right. So Nikki, just think about your mom, right? And what you were doing. How excited were you that you now learned something that you can share with those people around you that now in your own mind, you're going to change their lives. because you took the time to learn something that was totally foreign to you, and they probably would not do that. But because of you and sharing that, you have now literally changed the possibility of their path going forward for the rest of their life. It almost gets you to the point sometimes where it can bring tears to your eyes because you know how much you're affecting other people.
Mhm.
And it had nothing to do with money, right? Nothing. You're changing people because they can now do something that can change their lives, and you did not get paid for it.
Mm, mm. My reward and my true actual payment is when someone comes to me and says, "Oh my gosh, you know what? I've learned so much from you." That's one of my favorite things
Yep.
to hear. And I have a client, I have more clients, but I have this one particular client that she's a coaching client. And we had to moderate the payment because of her financial situation, but she wanted it so bad that I was willing to let's mold it out a little bit and let's make this work, right? She is so grateful. And every single time we end a session, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I've learned so much. I don't know how many notes I have here." And it's like, oh my God, it's like a pleasure. I mean, if I didn't need money to survive on earth, I would totally do this for free, right? Like it's that. Right? And free also is a tough energy to deal with, but for other reasons, you shouldn't really be doing a lot of free, but there's always an energetic exchange of some sort. But I would rather work with a person like that than a person that is constantly coming up against me, and and constantly resisting and constantly blocking. And I'm like, okay, we're going to keep doing
Yep.
this until we get through to you. It's just going to take longer and it's going to cost you more time and more money. And, are you okay with that? Yeah, but this is why I can't do it. I said, if
Right.
every single session we have to deal with your limitations and you're defending to me all of your limitations, well, then you're going to get to keep them for as long as you want.
So Nikki, how do you celebrate your accomplishments, your minor accomplishments, your major accomplishments? How do you celebrate internally yourself, to gratify and acknowledge and praise yourself on the back? What do you do?
Well, two things I do. The first is I grab my jibber jabber, which I don't have to hand right now, and I shake him because he laughs. And that's my private way of celebrating. But I also share with my core group of ladies who I coach, I share it with them and I say, this is where I've got to, because that communicating that and the way they celebrate with me empowers me and empowers them. And it empowers me because when I see transformation in people's lives, that's the greatest payment anyone can ever give me. Yeah, I still need the money and I don't need it. I want it. However, seeing people's lives change and seeing that effect that I'm having on the world is huge celebration for me. And I'll be honest, I don't want to do it on my own. But
Right.
my private little thing is grabbing my jibber jabber. And if you stick around till later, folks, maybe you'll see him when I'm on later, because you grab his neck and you shake him, and he's geared to be there to let you relieve frustration because he
Cool.
laughs.
Cool.
But you know what? For me, I celebrate with him because that laughter is exactly what I'm feeling at the time. The joy, the elevation of the total exhilaration of achievement in some way or other. And sometimes for me, it's just making someone smile.
If we go to our last point there, surround yourself with positive influences, I think I'm going to add real or not real.
I love that.
Jibba Jabba's not real, but he can make a difference in your life,
But Nikki and I will call each other too when we're ready to celebrate something. So it's not just
Yeah.
about me screaming in my own condo here, because I got to be careful how loud I scream, because otherwise someone might call the cops. But
Yeah.
we're all,
But
we usually call each other and go, just did
yeah,
this.
yeah, have a, I think there's two things and accountability partners. One is to celebrate and have somebody walk you through the challenges, and have somebody you can call and just, shake your head and their body and just giddy and jump up and down like, crazy, 14-year-old kids,
It's true.
and have that excitement. So, definitely surround yourself with the positive influences. One, as you're teaching others, you are always positive with them, and yet you're kindly critical in not necessarily a criticism environment, but a teaching environment of what might be wrong, what might not to do. It's not criticizing people, it's just sharing with them things that you now say, well, if you like the color A and the color A represents anger, maybe change the color on your website to blue, which represents something more passive and more comforting, and people are more interested in. That's a terrible example, but you get my point, right?
But it's actually true. And what you just said, blue represents trust and calmness. And yeah, that's cute, Nikki. Here, hang on. Can I get you here? Sorry, Patrick, are you still reading off of this?
Yeah, just this last part here, I want to just kind of go through.
Keep that with you, Nikki.
And I'll kind of share something that, Nikki, you're doing something on books, and other people are doing other things. There are things that we are doing right now. So I put this in here. This is going down the road of creating a salesperson, a person who can answer your questions for the dentist, person who can communicate with anybody with any business to answer any questions 24 hours a day. And so I put this in here for anybody that wants to click on that link. Okay, if you click on that link, it's going to take you to our dental page. And we have our new assistant, Jenny, and you can ask her anything about any information that's on that page 24 hours a day, and she will have a conversation with you, and you will not know, you generally will not know that it's an AI talking to you and not a real person.
Mm-hmm.
This is the new technology that's coming, and we're embracing it, and we're building these things out for all of our dental clients. But it can be if you're a coach, you can have your own AI answering bot. You can have your own AI companion. When you're not around, it can send out emails, it can make phone calls, and it can book appointments for you. So test it out. Go to the page. Just ask Jenny about anything that you read on the page, because it is page specific. You can't ask her, how many stars are in the sky. It's not a chatbot. Okay. It is specifically relevant to anything and everything that you teach it to do. So as you're teaching your students, you can have partial trainings of those teachings in here. When a student might ask a question, it will give them the answer. And if you do this and you listen to her, I've had half of the people that I've shared this with do not know it's not a real person. Okay.
Yeah, there's some really great things saying on.
And then the last thing, if you can take that link on the bottom of the page and open that up.
I did. I posted it over in.
Okay.
Did you want me to open it up and post and put it in here and share screen?
Sure.
I don't know if I can do that.
No, that's okay. You don't have to if you post it. But this is our book that we wrote, Nikki. To your revelation earlier, is how are we going to navigate the platform of understanding all the nuances of marketing for your business in this new world of AI. Okay. And so there's a shift going on, and we've all done search in Google like the same way for eons. It's never changed except till now. Okay. The way that we have to market ourselves and how we market ourselves, where we market ourselves, is completely changed. And if we don't do what you did and grasp this idea, then your business is going to suffer to the extent that everybody will be ranking and finding your business in a completely different way. And the old way is you're going to see declines. So we wrote this is the first of 2 books that we wrote called Search Shift. Do not buy the hard copy, please. It's on Kindle for $3.99.
On Amazon.
Well, Amazon Kindle, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Not everyone knows Kindle is Amazon.
Okay. And then
Okay.
the second thing that I'll leave with you is if you Nikki, I love what you're doing. I just keep kind of coming back to you because you're not afraid of what is the unknown. You're embracing it. You're searching it. You're looking for it. There's things that you can do, and you created this and you created that. The only way you do that is by what? Putting your toe in the water and hoping the shark doesn't bite it off. Right? But you have to have that no fear environment of embracing what we talked about earlier. Don't be afraid of what's new. Embrace it, learn it, and use it to your advantage to not only grow your business, but help those that you're teaching, the same thing. Because if you learn one thing with what you're doing, Nikki, on AI, and Marianne, what you're doing with AI, and impart that to the people that trust, know, and like you, and they do it, now you've done something positive in their life that's going to change their life, and they're going to be able to help others. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Absolutely. Can I just say, Patrick, that for
Yeah.
me, it comes from being curious.
Mhm.
If you are holding everything at bay because you don't understand it, you're going to just deteriorate and stagnate. But when you are curious, you discover so much. And when I started learning, I've only been working in tech because I also have a story that had me off anything, tech, computers, cell phones, anything, until 3 years ago. And I have to embrace what's new out there and be curious to keep moving forward. And as I embrace it, especially in all these different languages, which no, I don't understand yet. As I've been curious, I've found the platform that makes this available to me. Being curious about hearing from people like yourself who get to read your book. So I encourage people to step into stuff that's frightening because it's foreign, and don't see it as something scary. See it as like something exciting to learn because you're curious. If you don't give it a chance, you can't embrace it, and then you walk away blind. But if you embrace it, you can choose
Stay open.
whether to open yourself to it or not. And that's so much of what you're saying here. So absolutely
Yeah,
wonderful. I'm
yeah.
so excited, Patrick. You and I get to connect. You Gibber and I. This is Gibber.
That's awesome. Hi, Jibber.
I love it. It's so beautiful. Anyways, thank you so much for that, Patrick. When you said, what am I going to talk about? I don't know. Are you kidding? We've been talking for an hour.